So, Border is getting a rework. It's been a long time coming. It's kind of boring to play on, boring to watch competitive matches on, because the meta has just gotten so stale and rounds play out the same way almost every time you play on this map. So it's time for a refresh to open up some more flexibility and creativity. It's been in casual and ranked forever, but it got taken out of the competitive map pool 8 to 9 months ago, and Ubisoft mentioned that this is intended to be a competitive rework, not a casual one like House. I'm still salty about that. But is what Ubi did to Border enough to maybe get it back into the competitive pool? That's kind of what I want to go over here. So you can call this a map tour, you can call it whatever you want. I just want to go through and detail the major differences to Border and explain probably why the decision was made the way it was made. And before you ask, I'm not playing with the new operator Flores for this one. As cool as him and his gadget are, I wanted to play with Buck so we have an opportunity to open up a little bit more of the map to explore some possibilities here. So much of Border in the past has always stemmed from Armory, especially whether or not you're able to get this wall open or hold positions from, above looking down. So if you're trying to get onto the Armory Locker's bomb site, this wall is vitally important, or you're also able to hold angles from above, maybe if you're trying to watch the window, or seeing if you can't hold a vents plant or something. So I think a big reason for the rework has been to encourage players to play on other bomb sites, or maybe just try to rework a little bit of the way it's played. Bathroom Tellers is often the site that just seems like it gets neglected the most. It's not very picked. It's definitely an off site. This wall no longer extends directly to the outside. If you open it up, you'll notice that Bathroom has been extended way further than it was before, and this is actually something that's congruent with the version of the SI 2021 Stadium map. There was obviously like bulletproof glass right here, but now it's been given a lot more real estate. So this actually might be something you can use as a rotation between sites, because before, the only way that you were able to access either Bathroom or Tellers was just through this one doorway, but now you have a different avenue of approach, and it isn't something that you can breach from the outside like you could on the old version of Border. The area where you would normally try to breach Teller's wall got enveloped into the rest of the Bathroom expansion, and now the outside has been replaced with a staircase that can take you up to this part of the balcony, whereas before, you'd only be able to get to it by coming through Archives door, East Stairs door, or by rappelling, but now you can come up the staircase to get here so that you don't give a sound cue away about getting up to the balcony. It also might be made more popular of a site because this entire floor has now been made hard. It's no longer a soft surface that you can just blow holes straight through, and the hatch position has also been changed. So it used to be the drop down right here, you'd be able to hold a whole bunch of real estate. Now it's completely a hard floor, and the hatch has been moved to directly above Bathroom and all of this new space that's been added with the patch. It's in a much better spot now because it's watching considerably less, but still acts as an effective drop down. And another massive bump to that site is actually this new balcony section that connects the top of East Stairs all the way to Break Room. It's just Break Room like Break Room normally has been, with the exception of a new window right here, but the focus is on the balcony, and it's actually on the exterior balcony as well. We only have one window here, we used to have two of them, but something that you could do before was sit outside, and you could hold a whole bunch of space at the very top of Waiting Room and maybe even look into the bomb site all the way from out here, and it was really difficult for you to be found if you were an attacker. But now, we've got a railing here, which means that if you want to watch above Waiting Room at all, you need to be on the interior balcony, which opens you up to the flank, either from top east or from Break Room. You really can't hold much from this window anymore. It now just primarily serves as an entry point for the balcony if you don't want to go to East Stairs and then just kind of travel all the way in here. The customs inspection bomb site also got a bit of a revamp. This wall was always soft, but now it's something that you can totally like reinforce or breach and then move through. There used to be a desk right here. That's been moved. This wall panel as well has also been reinforceable. Passport wall's also been changed as well. Now these two are solid and these two still require reinforcements. I'd still say this is probably going to end up being a default plant spot, but in this case you can now allocate 2 reinforcements to literally wherever else you want, whether you wanted to put it right here just to make sure that no one can bang through that wall or someplace else. Now you only need 2 reinforcements to cover this whole wall. And also, like with Bathroom Tellers, one of the drop downs has been adjusted. So in this case, if we head to CCTV, this one above Small Office is still in the same position that it was before, but now the one above Customs proper no longer holds a crazy choke point. It used to be over here. You could watch from detention, from supply, hold the hallway from above. It's been moved a little bit closer to the wall. There's there's still a lot of things that you can see from here. You can watch the default plant spot, you can still prone and watch the base of the doorway, you can come to the opposite side. You can also hang out on this side of the hatch a little bit. It's not like completely flush with the wall, but it being moved to over here means, again, like the other hatch, it's not nearly as powerful of an area to watch from above. Ventilation in workshop genuinely hasn't been changed that much. The only real noticeable change is that this doorway seems like you can't arc nades over it or through it that much anymore. It's a proper door, but I don't really think much about workshop changed that drastically or necessarily why this was something that they wanted to add. Vents itself is also still the same. You put the rotate in the same spot. I don't know if the bomb chassis itself has been moved, but you can still hold this from up top because this floor is still completely destructible, so this one doesn't really change nearly as much as the other sites do. So if all of this is being done with the intent to not have people select armory lockers as their bomb site every time, then so far I think they've done a pretty good job of that, just to make the other sites a little bit more of a popular option. But now the question is armory lockers and archives different enough to justify not going to it? And I think they did kind of half and half in this case. From offices, the entire half wall section over here has been removed in favor of just extending archives out a pretty fair way. The bomb chassis also does not sit by the desk anymore. It instead sits kind of back in the far corner of the room. So the hatch is still in the same spot, but the bomb chassis itself has been moved, so you can't really hide behind it for coverage while you look to the rest of armory lockers. What it's done though is this extension is now crazy close to this window. So if you were to come through here, breach through the wall, you could get the plant down in a spot like this, and then you could come directly outside. Shut up! You could come right outside and have this angle all the way down. So it's pretty far, especially if you have a scope that's able to handle that kind of range. It also means that hard breachers don't have to, work nearly as hard to get this open. Thermite just has to come a little ways with only one doorway standing between him and death in order to get an extra thermic charge on the wall. Habana and Ace can still, pepper this thing from the window, and it's a really nice plant spot provided you have things like smoke coverage on the doorway. But if they were intending to make this site a little less enticing for defenders to select it every time, then I am a little bit confused about this selection right here. This is also on the current version of the stadium map, this set of lockers. What this does is it makes it so that if you're on the sandwich window rappel, or if you come into sandwich, it means that you can't really look into the small office like nearly as much as you used to. Now you have additional coverage with this set of lockers right here, because even like if you're on rappel on the sandwich window, you can like wing flashbangs and frag grenades, but you no longer really have a beneficial or like a direct line of sight or anything. So you can put stuff over the lockers for sure, that wasn't intended. But there's just a lot more cover from this side now, so you can stay in the office, and even if you wanted to be by half wall, when someone drops sandwich. If the goal was to make sure people didn't select the top floor bomb site, I think most of the rework does a good job. It's just that this kind of does give you more reason to want to like stay covered, especially on this area of the site. Aside from that, everything else about this map has remained unchanged for the rework. The hatches are all still in the same default spots. Cameras also have not moved, either internally or externally. But yeah, Border really didn't go through a crazy cadre of changes. I'd go so far as to say it probably changed less than the cafe rework did, and I kind of agree with some other people that say the cafe wasn't really a rework. Cafe was genuinely more of a buff when it got changed. It wasn't super drastic like other map reworks have been, where it's just tried to make the map, even bigger or add more rooms for additional flank routes, things like that. Border didn't really need a lot of work in that aspect, and it was just a matter of a couple of really subtle tweaks to get it looking the way that Ubisoft wanted it to look. I do hope that what they've included here is enough to maybe give it competitive consideration again, because it was a good map. It was just that it was getting stale incredibly fast, and I think there's a lot of really good things to showcase in this update, and once it gets back into like the ranked rotation, maybe we'll see how teams want to take different bomb sites instead of what they've always taken before, or if it ever got played in a competitive context, or if teams want to start scrimming on this thing just to get a better picture of what it looks like. I would be interested in seeing if there are some meta or behavioral or routine changes, any of that kind of stuff. Overall, I think it's a good rework. The question is, how will the rest of the community respond to it? I think it could come back to comp. I honestly think it could. Let me know what you think of the rework in the comments. Is this something you like, dislike? Was it necessary, unnecessary? What were your feelings about Old Border? And if you play the test server, what do you think of the new stuff? Please hit out my Twitter, my Twitch, and this YouTube channel for more in the coming days. Please and thank you, and I'll see you later. Peace.